Good morning. This is our last day in Madagascar, and I wanted to give a little interview to Nelly Rabinowitz. Without Nelly, this whole event really wouldn't have happened. She has been so much a part of what has taken place here, and I'm so grateful that she found us and came along. So I want to ask Nelly, please tell us what was the highlights of your trip here?
The highlights of my trip and the involvement with Kalani. I found myself in 3 different areas, unbeknown to me. First is watching the woman coming into my room and asking to have a head covering done for their wedding, putting on the makeup, having the kids running around. The moms.
Wait, Nelly was the person who helped dress the brides. She actually bought lots of earrings.
I bought a lot of earrings from my house and necklaces and my makeup. And the next thing I knew, they were all having my earrings on their ears, and I was putting on makeup, all of them, and they let each one of them. It was quite interesting to put a head covering on each one of them. Each face, each spirit that they have required a different style of head covering. And I found myself almost trying to find something that's a way of putting a head covering on the head that doesn't just fit their face and their feature, but more tie them up spiritually to the wedding that they were about to do. That was probably one of the best experiences that I've had.
What about lining up the children when they marched in with the bride?
And so everything was things kind of falling into place. When something was missing visually, the next step showed itself. When we came down on the stairs to go into the chuppah, there's one child that came in, and I go, wait, we need children. So I called all the children, and all the children came in. I said, maybe. And so I asked them if they know a song, and they sang Shalom Aleichem, and all of a sudden there were kids were in the front, and the moms were running up in the stairs. And there was this symphony, this sound that you could feel of kiddushim in the whole entire experience. I don't know how it really came together.
Just to make it clear, before the 12 brides walked down the aisle, a group of children preceded them singing Shalom Aleichem, and we have that on another video on the YouTube channel, Bonita Sussman's YouTube channel.
And the second thing that was absolutely wonderful for me is to find myself in charge of nurturing people, being in the kitchen, making sure that...
Okay, so wait, let's clear that one. There was a group of us who were strictly shomer kashrut, that we only ate strictly kosher food. So people always ask, how do you eat kosher when you go to Madagascar? It's a challenge, but we always manage it. So the hotel that we stayed at allowed us to kosher a kitchen. All paper plates and plastic forks and tins and tin foil were bought for the occasion. Of course, only kosher fish, or vegetables, fruit, and we ate a lot of rice. So there was confusion about cooking and organizing this, because basically we were about 15 people per meal. So Nelly saved the day, and tell us something about the cooking and
So the cook, the Madagascar, they supposed to know the ritual about breaking an egg, making sure that it doesn't have stains in them, and removing spots.
Yeah.
So we went through that one, washing parsley and cilantro a few times, and checking for bugs. They thought it was pretty funny. The other things that we did is not to bring any other knives or plates or containers or washing our dishes. And another thing that we spend a lot of time kosherizing, not putting cheese in the oven that we have already kosherized. I remember at one point I came down at 6 o'clock in the kitchen and they were cooking quiches in the oven that we've kosherized. And
She nearly had a heart attack.
well, I felt responsible for the big din. And I think the third and most wonderful thing is I've never worked very closely with a big din. A group of people, a group of men that put their heart and soul in trying to understand what this whole experience was for people in Madagascar. And the conversion process, I could tell it was not easy. And for me to find myself assisting in, it was almost like people were lining up in a tiny hallway, maybe 3 feet by 10 feet, small chairs, very nervous, not understanding what's going to happen once they get in the room.
They were nervous because they were afraid of the questions that the Beit Din would ask, and if they were knowledgeable.
And I felt that I was delivering them into the room. I felt that I could we could sing songs in Hebrew. They were asking me questions, but I felt like I was, opening up a door and taking them from a hallway to a door. Reminded me of my midwifery days when I would labor with someone and getting them through that special door of birthing and taking a nice breath and just going in and coming right out and watching the smiles and watching the tears really reminded me of the life cycle of birthing. And that's what I witnessed
When you become Jewish.
That's right, and that's what I witnessed. And
Oh, wow.
That was wonderful.
Oh, and Nelly, this really couldn't have happened without you. But the last thing I want to talk about was that amazing class that you gave yesterday to teach people about the chevra kadisha. I know you do chevra kadisha work, and when I went to my local funeral home called Menorah on Staten Island, and I asked him for a shroud. And of course he gave me a shroud. He gives me shrouds when I need them for around the world. And I schlepped the shroud to Madagascar, and I was afraid that this was the last piece in the program that didn't come to fruition. By miraculously, a group appeared yesterday afternoon, which was May 18th, 2016. And I ran up and got actually my husband ran up and got the shroud and gave us a demonstration. So talk a little bit about that class, because that was really wow too.
First to find out the
It's a
ritual.
group of about 15 to 20 people,
At least,
right?
yeah, at least. So the first thing we did is we found out their knowledge, and of course, they didn't have any knowledge about chevra kadisha to begin with, and practices in burial in Judaism. So we tried to first find out what is it that they have done and what is it that they understood. And the next thing is we talked about the process of dying. And how to set up the chevra kadisha, and after that we went on and explained how to put on the shroud and how to prepare the body, how to prepare and shiva, sitting shiva, and that kind of elicited other questions. Euthanasia, for example, what is our belief system? What else did they ask that they were very pertinent about? Is it, they have some laws in Madagascar that if you keep the body more than 24 hours, which in Judaism you have to bury within 24 hours. In here, what they do is they use formaldehyde to keep the body up. So they wanted to know, is that possible? Could we do that? And so what I basically asked them, or told them, is that any question out of the ordinary needs to go to a rabbinical to ask the question to their rabbi, to whenever any question will arise that they didn't know the answer, to make sure that they would get some guidance, and also that they could discuss some of the practices that they have here and how to deal with them.
Did you mention the other discussions that we talked about? We talked about autopsy.
That's
and
right.
they talked about cremation, the prohibition
autopsy,
against
yeah.
cremation, autopsy.
What else can I?
What else? and other end of life differences.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you allowed to plug? Was another discussion.
Yes.
What point is dying versus what point is prolonging death versus keeping a person alive? To what ends do you do that?
But I would like to mention that during the discussion we had, the rabbis around that could also answer questions that I wasn't able to answer. In general, I would like to say that I am absolutely, I just didn't expect to find, first of all, an organization like Koran that is so tolerant and so open and so really fast. It's hard to really find a word to describe who and how Koran works. I am very grateful that I found a group of people that could teach me tolerance, that could teach me what is a Jew, that could teach me how to think outside the box. I will go home trying to digest what happened to me.
We all will,
time.
let me tell you. We all will.
The second thing that I found extraordinary is what we found here in Madagascar. In Madagascar, people have taught themselves. They believed that they were Jewish from descended Jews. And they taught themselves on the internet. They were much more literate than I was, and the kids were in Judaism. I don't know how that happened.
Well, the whole experience here was very amazing, and Nelly, you were just spectacular, and you saved the day in so many different areas here. You're a detail-oriented person. You know how to fix things. You were just amazing.
Don't even believe her.
Okay.
She is the one that's behind the whole of that spirit of this project. And Bonnie, I want to thank you very much for letting me be who I am.
Yeah, you were just perfect. Yeah.
And teaching me, and I really hope that you and I will have more projects in Madagascar and other places.
And elsewhere, God willing.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Bye.